So please welcome Charlotte, who knows how quickly people's health, who in the right place? Please welcome Charlotte, who knows how quickly people's health can deteriorate, but recognises that being a supporting person can at times be a really hard place to be. With her speech entitled Self-Care and Supporting Others, please give a huge second half welcome, Charlotte Aldridge, everybody!
Health, arguably one of the most important factors in our lives. Not something we can buy, and something that many of us, me included at times, take for granted. I regularly run for the station for a train, leg it up and down stairs, put myself into situations out of my comfort zone. At the time, I'm always just grateful for the outcome. I made the train, I wasn't late for a meeting, I got through the presentation. How often am I grateful to my body and mind for getting me through these stressful situations? Probably not as often as I should be. And maybe that's because, on the whole, I consider myself to be okay. The odd doctor appointment, the occasional visit to the walk-in centre, and ladies, the dreaded smear. Apart from that, I am no regular at our health services. I'm lucky enough that in the past, when people that I love and care for have been poorly, there's always been a quick solution. They've been fixed. This is my problem. I'm a fixer. Give me a solution, a problem. Don't give me a solution. give me a problem, and I feel I'll be able to give you a solution. I'll find the answer. Or if I can't, I believe I know somebody that can, and quite quickly. Now, this isn't always a bad trait to have. It means I'm reactive, solution-focused, and optimistic. But it does come with a risk. It means I can carry a huge personal burden and feel responsible for things that actually I have no control over. How does this work in my day-to-day life? Well, I manage, support, and work with people that have quite complex issues that mean their mental and physical health is affected. I feel I'm quite confident in supporting people who have additional support needs, be that changing what I say and how I say it, changing how I do things, or changing the physical environment that I work in. How confident am I in supporting people when the health gets to a stage that's dangerous for them? How confident are you? So hands up in the room, please. I'm going to come forward so I can see you all. Who in the room has completed some sort of first aid training in their lives? Okay, quite a few hands. Excellent. So I'm just going to pick on you, madam. From that training, if someone was to stop breathing right here, right now, would you have some idea of what to do? Yeah, so in your own words.
Chest and
yep.
Breathing into their mouth.
Yep, excellent. That's essentially what it is. Pump in the heart, air into lungs, and call the emergency services. We've seen it on TV, we've seen it on adverts. It's a sight that we're familiar with. I think we can all visualise that image, even if we wouldn't be confident doing it. Let me flip the situation. Someone comes to you saying they're suicidal and have thoughts about ending their life and no longer feel safe on their own. Now do you know what to do? Now can you visualise the solution? The answer, I guess, is less common. Hands up again, please. Who's attended some sort of mental health first aid training or suicide prevention training? Okay, look around. That looks like 0 to me, guys. 1. So one person in the room. 1 person in the room. Now, that is not okay. I'm not surprised, but that is not okay. And equally, it's something we cannot ignore. In Great Britain in 2016, there were over 5,500 deaths recorded to suicide. For men, aged 20 to 49, it is still the biggest cause of death. They are men in their prime. And in our lifetimes, 1 in 15 of us will make an attempt on our life. 1 in 15 of us, that's like 4 people in this room. It's madness. Now, I work in homelessness, and a lot of my client group has to compete with multiple and complex disadvantage. So I know I am going to have, more than the average person does, conversations around mental health and suicide. I've had countless conversations around overdosing, self-harm, intentional and unintentional suicide. I've made good use of my training, and I support people to stay safe in that moment and call the mental health teams. I have also made more phone calls for the emergency services around mental health than physical health. The truth is, people commit suicides, and if they're deemed to have the capacity, they're well within their rights to do so. However, this doesn't sit right with a fixer in me. And actually, believing you can fix someone whose mental health is quite poorly is actually quite detrimental. A few months ago, someone I know's mental health deteriorated to a stage where she was really unsafe. I'd put measures in place to ensure her safety, but she'd missed quite a few check-in points with me. I was worried enough to ask the police for a safe and well check. They unfortunately are under-resourced and weren't able to go, so I had to go. To cut a very long and quite traumatic experience short, I found this lady just moments from death. A failed suicide attempt. And in the weeks that followed, we had countless more safe and well checks, hospital admissions, and further failed attempts on her life. Now, during this time, I obviously struggled emotionally. I'd allowed myself to become her main source of support. It was a massive responsibility to carry and was quite stressful on a daily basis. Over time, she started to get well-ish. Things started to ease slightly. She responded to support and was returning to her norm. I exhaled. I allowed myself to breathe. I might have even patted myself on the back. It was premature. It wasn't too long before she deteriorated again, quite rapidly. Now, 5 months on, we're not much further from where we were. She's still in a state of struggling with her own mental health. Now, during all this time, there was some positive self-talk. Well done, lucky you were there at that crucial moment. But actually, most of my self-talk was negative. Are you doing the right thing? Are you the right person for the job? Do you really know what you're doing? Are you helping or hindering? Have you put her back? And actually, I haven't got the answer to those questions. All I know is that at the back of this, I'm not okay. I'm not okay because obviously it's a very sad situation. There's a young lady really close to taking her life. But I'm also not okay because actually I think I've realised I can't fix her. And what if maybe no one can? I have days and sometimes weeks at work where we can feel surrounded by suicide. I worry that it can become normalised for me. But no, I think normal is the wrong word. I know it's not normal for someone to take their own life. Am I desensitised? I don't think so. I will never shy away from those really tricky conversations and will always support somebody when I think there might be an inkling of concern. I think it's the fact I know how prevalent it is, that constant reminder of how fragile life can be when your mental health gets to a really unsafe space. Now, I'm a self-confessed fixer. My colleagues call me a rescuer, which is just a nicer way of saying it. Essentially, I carry a personal burden for other people's well-being. I know that about myself, though, and I put in coping strategies and I make sure I have mechanisms to look after myself as well. So my advice to you, if you're a fixer, make sure you've got coping strategies in for self-care to look after yourself before others. Remember that a lot of people are struggling, many in silence. Remember that our key risk factors are men aged 20 to 49, but that 1 in 15 of us will make an attempt on our lives. And lastly, well, not lastly, next. If you're worried about anybody or want to upskill yourself, please have a look at mental health first aid or suicide prevention training. It's really important. And now lastly, please let's look after each other. Thank you.